There are some experiences in life that are so big, so deep, that words just fail us. Today, we're going to explore a really powerful way to heal, one that uses the lens of a camera to help us see ourselves in a whole new light. We're talking about how the act of making a film can actually help put the pieces back together.
I mean, really think about that. How do you tell a story that feels bigger than language itself? Whether it's a trauma, a loss, or a joy so intense you can't find the words, it's a huge challenge. And the answer we're looking at today comes from a completely different kind of storytelling.
And that answer, believe it or not, is found in cinema. But probably not in the way you're thinking. We're not talking about just kicking back and watching a movie. We're talking about something called video therapy, where the person in therapy becomes the filmmaker.
So what exactly is video therapy? Well, as you can see, it's an active process. It's all about creating your own film, either a documentary about what happened or even a fictional story that acts as a metaphor. And that's really key, that indirect approach. It creates a safe distance, It lets people explore really tough feelings without getting completely overwhelmed by them.
This whole journey really unfolds in 4 big stages, and each one is a piece of the therapy itself. It all kicks off with the script, then moves into acting, then actually capturing the story on camera, and finally, shaping it all in the edit. And that first step, the script, that's where the internal chaos really starts to find some order.
So let's walk through this journey, because this is so much more than just a technical process. By stepping into all these roles, writer, actor, director of their own story, patients go down this incredible path of understanding and eventually healing.
Writing the script, for many, this is the first time they've ever tried to take all of those jumbled up feelings and memories and give them some kind of structure. It's this incredibly powerful way of getting what's locked up inside out onto the page, where you can finally start to look at it and make sense of it.
And of course, that process can be really, really tough. As one participant shared, it forced them to look at their own story and ask, is this really how I choose to tell it? That question right there, that's the start of everything. It's that moment you realize you have a choice in how your story is told.
All right, next up, the patient actually gets in front of the camera. And yeah, that can feel super vulnerable, but it can also be incredibly freeing. Whether they're playing themselves or a character that represents their experience, it creates this space to be spontaneous and to see everything from a totally new angle.
Wow, this is just a perfect example of how powerful that bit of distance can be. By acting out a scene from a story totally different from their own, this person found a safe way to tap into and release their own emotions. It just goes to show you, sometimes telling someone else's story is the best way to unlock your own.
Okay, now we get to what is, for my money, maybe the most empowering stage in this entire process. After all the raw, emotional material has been filmed, the patient goes into the editing room to build their final story.
Editing is where you really, truly take back control. Think about it. Every single choice, what to keep, what to leave out, which shot best shows an emotion, every single cut is an act of building meaning. It's where you decide, this is how my story is going to be understood.
This participant absolutely nailed it. I could choose. For anyone who's been through something where they felt like they had no choice, no control, the power to sit there and decide exactly how the story gets told is just profound. It's the ultimate act of taking back the pen.
And then, finally, after all that work, the journey leads to the premiere. The patient gets to watch their finished film, often with their therapy group. And in that moment, they're not just watching a movie, they're witnessing their own journey. The pain, the process, the transformation reflected back at them as a complete, powerful piece of art.
You can just feel the power of that moment in this quote, right? The film almost takes on a life of its own, bringing up feelings and insights that maybe weren't even conscious during the creation. Seeing your inner world projected on a screen like that, well, it's a final, powerful validation of everything you went through.
So what's the big lesson here? What can we all take away from this? Because while video therapy is a specific clinical tool, the ideas behind it speak to something universal, that deep human need to make sense of our lives by becoming the authors of our own stories.
When you look back at the whole thing, the transformation is just so clear. This isn't just about making a film. It's about getting your hands back on the steering wheel of your life story. It's about processing trauma through action, not just talking. And ultimately, it helps you see yourself with more compassion and gives you a voice when words just aren't enough.
And this need to tell our story to understand ourselves isn't just for a therapy session. The greatest storytellers in the world grapple with it. Steven Spielberg said this about making The Fabelmans, his most personal movie. It took him his whole life to finally tell his own story head on, and it highlights this incredible truth. We don't just tell our stories for other people.
It's how we find out who we are for ourselves.
So I guess I'll just leave you with this question. We all have stories inside of us, right? Stories of pain, stories of joy, stories of becoming who we are. What's the one story that you need to tell, even if it's just to yourself?